Welcome back to the channel. Today's story will carry you into the life of a boy the world mocked, but fate had other plans. Sit tight, let the tale unfold. He didn't hate school because of the books, it was the people. The way they talked, the way they laughed too loud when it came to him. Your papa died like a goat. Your mama disappear like breeze. Someone once spat on his shoe and asked if ghosts wore sandals. Sometimes, he'd smile. Not because it was funny, but because it was easier than crying. He'd adjust his shirt, lift his chin, and walk as if he had royal blood. "See Orphan Day do big boy," they'd say. But his chest still felt hollow. He lived with his uncle. The house leaked, the floor cracked, and when it rained, the place whistled like a flute. Food came with side comments. "Your father left nothing but stress." The uncle's words were sharp, his love, missing. But the boy, he had stubborn hope. He sold pure water after school. Fixed his sandals with rope. Washed his uniform by hand and dried it on the gate. He moved like someone who didn't want pity, only space to breathe. One afternoon, he sat on an old tire near the gate. Just sitting. Just thinking. A woman walked by, headscarf neat, glasses dark, her steps graceful like music. She glanced at him. Then again. Her eyes lingered like someone seeing a face from a forgotten photograph. He stood up a little. "Good afternoon, Ma," he said. She didn't speak. Just nodded slowly, lips parting as if something inside her shifted. Then she walked away. He sat back down, confused. But that night, sleep came slow. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. But something inside him whispered. This was not ordinary. And truly, his life was about to open like a book someone had been afraid to read. The next morning, school felt heavier. He kept turning around, hoping to see her again. That woman with eyes that held questions. But she didn't pass by. The students didn't notice anything different. They still mocked him in line. "You dey find your mama inside the sun?" He ignored them, eyes scanning faces, waiting for something, anything. That day, even the breeze felt strange. During break, he sat alone under the almond tree. The smell of akara drifted from the school gate, and his stomach growled, but he didn't move. His mind was stuck on the woman's face. That pause. That stare. It wasn't ordinary. Back home, his uncle was fixing a radio that hadn't worked in years. "Uncle, do I look like anybody you know?" The man blinked slowly, then laughed without joy. "You look like problem. That's who you look like." He let it go. But the seed had been planted. Later that night, he lay flat on the floor mat, eyes open, hands behind his head. The zinc roof above clicked quietly, like it had secrets of its own. His chest was full, but not with sadness this time. Something was tugging. And so, the next day, he went searching. Not far, just around the street, near the bush path beside the primary school, where the woman had come from. He didn't know what he was expecting. Maybe he thought she'd be standing there again, waiting. She wasn't. But an old driver sitting by a parked Kiki looked at him and whistled. Your face stays somehow familiar." The boy's eyes lit up. "Me." The men nodded, eyes squinting. "You no be the son of that madam way travel since." "Wait first, who be your mama again?" The boy opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Because truth was, he didn't even know. His hands dropped to his side. His fingers curled slightly. He just shook his head. "Orphan?" the man asked gently. He nodded. The man looked at him again, longer this time. Then turned away and said, "I get why." And just like that, the silence became heavier than before. He didn't speak much that evening. He helped his uncle wash the bowls, swept the compound, and sat by the door watching the sky change color. A rooster walked past, chasing shadows, and the boy smiled faintly, just for a second. But inside, his thoughts were loud. Who was that woman? Why did the Kikiman look at him like that? Why did he feel like the truth was standing near him, yet still far? Later that night, when his uncle had gone inside, he tiptoed to the back of the house. There was a small wooden box kept under the broken bench. It held old wrappers, faded calendars, and bits of nothing. But inside one brown envelope, he found something that didn't belong. A photograph. Worn out, bent to the corners, and faint in color, but still clear enough. A man in a clean white shirt. A woman in glasses, smiling small, hand on her stomach. And in front of them, a baby. His hands shook. He had never seen these people before. But something about the woman, those glasses, that face. He didn't sleep that night. By morning, he had made up his mind. He wore his cleanest shirt, the yellow one with a missing button. He brushed his sandals till they looked almost new. And without telling anyone, he left the house. He went back to the street. Back to where the woman had passed. He waited under the mango tree, eyes darting at every sound. And then he saw her. Not close. Not walking. She was getting into a black car just outside a quiet compound. He ran closer, heart pounding like a talking drum. "Ma!" he called. She turned. For a second, she looked like someone who had seen a ghost. She stepped back, then forward, then froze. He held out the photo. "Is this you?" The world seemed to pause. She took the photo slowly. Her lips trembled. "Where did you get this?" Her voice cracked like dry wood. He didn't answer. He just stood there. Waiting. Her eyes welled up, and her knees almost gave way. And that's when she whispered something no one had ever called him before. "My son." They stood there, both breathing like the air had changed. She didn't rush to hug him. She didn't cry out or shout like in those Nollywood films. She just stared at him as if time had jumped and landed on her chest. "Who raised you?" she asked softly. He looked down. "My uncle." She nodded slowly, still holding the photo like it was made of fire. "Did he ever tell you about me?" He shook his head. "I didn't even know your name." Silence again. But this one was full, like it carried many years inside. She opened the car door and said gently, "Enter." He hesitated. Then he climbed in. Inside, the air smelled like perfume and something soft, like bread and secrets. The car seat swallowed him. He sat stiff like a new student on the first day of school. "My name is Angela," she said as they drove off. "I'm your mother." He didn't speak. Not because he didn't believe her, but because something inside him was spinning. They didn't go far. She took him to a house that looked like peace. The compound was quiet, flowers trimmed, a black dog sleeping by the gate. Inside, the chairs were soft, the walls clean, and everything smelt expensive. "Sit," she said. He sat, still holding the photo. She brought out a box and placed it in front of him. "Your father left this. He died a few months after I gave birth." He looked at her. "Why did you leave me?" That question sat in the room like smoke. "I didn't want to," she said, her eyes red. "I was young. My parents forced me to travel. They said the boy would be safe with family. I searched for you when I came back, but no one would tell me where you were." He watched her. No tears yet. Just questions in his chest. "Why now?" She smiled sadly. "Because God finally allowed our paths to cross. I didn't even know you lived close by. That day I saw you, something in my soul screamed." He opened the box. Inside were baby clothes, a hospital tag, and a small gold chain with his name on it. For the first time in his life, he saw his full name. His real one. He kept turning the chain over in his hand like it held answers. His name was carved into it, Clear as day. Not the name his uncle used to shout. Not the one the boys at school mocked. A new name. A real name. Ifani, she said. That's what we called you. It means nothing is impossible. The boy looked up. His lips parted, but words refused to come out. He had never been called that before. For years, he was just boy or you there. Now someone was calling him by a name soaked in meaning. She brought him food, rice with fried plantain. He ate slowly, careful not to stain the chair. I still have so much to explain, she said. But I know this is a lot for you. He nodded. Even his heartbeat felt new. Where do you stay now? She asked. With my uncle, he said. Her face darkened a little. Does he treat you well? The boy stared at the plate. The silence answered for him. She exhaled. I want to bring you home. But I need to do this right. He looked around the house again. It was the kind of place that felt like it had never heard shouting. Curtains neat, floor shining, air smelling like peace. I still have to go back today, he said softly. She didn't argue. She just reached into a drawer and pulled out something wrapped in cloth. A letter. Give this to your uncle. Let's see if he still wants to pretend. He held the letter like it was made of glass. She walked him to the gate. Her eyes didn't leave him for 1 second. I'll come tomorrow, she said. He nodded. As he walked back home, something inside him had changed. His feet touched the same dusty ground, but he wasn't the same boy. He was Ifani now. When he reached the house, his uncle was already outside, sipping Gary like nothing in the world could shake him. The boy walked up and dropped the letter beside the plastic cup. What's this one again? The man muttered. The boy didn't answer. He just stood there, watching. The man didn't open the letter immediately. He picked it up like it was an insult, turned it over, then tossed it onto the bench beside him. You day deliver message now, ABI? The boy didn't reply. Later that night, the letter was gone from the bench. The boy noticed it under his uncle's pillow when he spread the mat. That night was quiet. No insults. No angry footsteps. Even the mosquitoes seemed to hum softer. By morning, the uncle didn't speak much. Just sat outside, chewing coconut, eyes far away. The boy bathed, dressed, and waited. When the knock came, it was gentle, but it scattered the whole compound. The woman stood at the gate, this time in a cream-colored wrapper and flat sandals. Behind her was a man in a neat blue shirt, holding a brown folder. The uncle stepped out, his eyes narrowed like sun was in them. You again, he said. The woman didn't flinch. You got the letter. I got it, he muttered, wiping his hand on his wrapper. The man in blue opened the folder. I'm Barrister Ease. We just want to talk. The uncle scoffed. Talk wetin? Talk about how Una abandoned the boy for years, then suddenly appear with lawyer face. The woman stepped forward. Her voice was low, but sharp. We left him with family. You were supposed to protect him, not turn him into your houseboy. The uncle's face twisted. Houseboy ku. Who feed him since? Who pay him school fees? The lawyer raised a hand. We're not here to fight. We want to take him back, legally. If you resist, we'll take it to court. The man spat on the ground. Carry court go. The boy no go anywhere. But when he turned to look at the boy, he froze. The boy wasn't scared. He stood there, chin up, eyes steady. Not begging. Not shrinking. Just waiting. And in that moment, something shifted. The uncle saw it, the boy had changed. Something had returned to him. A name. A mother. A voice. The lawyer stepped forward. Sir, if you don't want trouble, hand over custody. There are documents. Everything is clear. The uncle's hands twitched. He didn't speak. Because for once, he had nothing to say. The uncle didn't say another word. He stepped back, grumbling under his breath, and walked into the house. The door creaked shut like it, too, was tired of everything. The woman turned to the boy. Go and pack your things. He didn't rush. He walked inside slowly, as if collecting himself along the way. Inside the room, everything he owned could fit into one small bag. A few clothes, a comb, 2 exercise books, and a spoon he liked. He folded them carefully. Then paused and looked around. The cracked wall. The thin mat. The corner where rain used to drip. All of it was familiar. But not home. He stepped outside carrying the bag. His uncle stood at the door, arms folded, jaw tight. No thank you, the man asked. The boy looked at him. Thank you. Not for the beatings. Not for the insults. But for survival. Then he turned away. The woman's car was waiting. She opened the door, and he slipped in. The lawyer gave a small nod. And just like that, the gate closed. As the car drove off, the street rolled behind them. The compound disappeared, but something new was forming ahead. He sat in the back seat quietly, the bag on his lap. Do you want to change schools? The woman asked. He shrugged. Maybe later. She smiled. You don't have to rush. Let's just rest first. The house greeted them again, soft and bright. The curtains waved like they were happy. The fridge hummed like it had been waiting. Later that evening, he stood by the window, looking out. From here, the world looked different. She came and stood beside him. Your room is ready, she said. He turned to her. Do you want me to call you Mama? She smiled, eyes glistening. Call me whatever feels real. He nodded slowly. Okay. And just like that, peace sat between them, quiet and warm. He didn't know everything yet. But for the first time, he wasn't afraid to find out. The new room was small but sweet. There was a shelf, a desk, and a window that showed the sky like it was telling stories. He ran his fingers across the bedsheet. Clean. Soft. No stains, no smells, no arguments hiding in corners. That night, he slept like the sky was holding him. No zinc noise. No feet stomping. Just stillness. In the morning, she knocked softly. Breakfast is ready. He came out rubbing his eyes. The smell of fried egg danced in the air. On the table, there was bread, tea, and something new, peace. They ate in silence, but it wasn't awkward. It was the kind of silence that allowed room for breath. Do you want to visit your father's grave today? She asked gently. He blinked. Where? In Ikoyi. It's not far. He nodded. They left shortly after, the car moving slowly like it respected the journey. At the cemetery, birds sang somewhere far. The ground was neat, flowers trimmed. She led him through rows and stopped in front of a flat marble stone. It read, Emeka Yu, Nwachukwu. Loving husband and father. 1977 to 2012. The boy stood still. No tears. Just quiet. She knelt beside the stone and ran her fingers across the name. He wanted to be there for you. He would have been proud of how you've survived. The boy looked at the letters again. I didn't know he was this real, he said. She smiled faintly. He was the best part of my life. And you're the part he left for me to hold. They stood there for a while, letting the moment wrap itself around them. Later, in the car, she gave him a folder. Inside are documents, your birth certificate, your dad's will, everything. From now on, no one will call you that orphan again. He held the folder tightly, like it was a shield. From that day on, things shifted. Neighbors began greeting him with 2 hands. Shopkeepers smiled wider. Even the air felt like it had forgiven him for something. But deep down, he was still learning how to smile without suspicion. And every time she called his name, Ifani, it reminded him that the impossible had quietly bent in his favor. She let him stay home for a few days. No school, no errands, no shouting voices chasing him out the door. Just rest. He spent mornings watching the ceiling fan spin like it was thinking. Afternoons sitting by the window, writing his name on paper over and over again. Ifani. It looked good in his own handwriting. One morning, she brought out a photo album. "Want to see your father?" He nodded. Page after page, a new world unfolded. His father laughing in a suit. Carrying a tiny baby, him, in a white blanket. A birthday party he never remembered. Smiles frozen in time. "He worked in a bank," she said. "Was the kindest man I knew." The boy pointed at one picture. "Who is this?" Her smile faded a little. That's your father's brother." His heart dropped. "Uncle Dominic." She nodded. "Yes. That's the one you lived with." He leaned back slowly. All those years. All the shouting, the names, the silence, the empty birthdays. From his own blood. She looked at him, worry creeping into her eyes. "I didn't know you were with him. He was never meant to take you. They told me you were staying with my aunt in Asaba." The boy's voice was steady, but low. "He told me nothing." She shook her head, eyes wet. "He had no right. He had no heart." Silence stretched between them. But it didn't break them. It built something. "I need to do something," she said. "I've kept quiet for too long." "What will you do?" She stood, calm but firm. "Make sure no other child suffers like you did. Starting with him." That evening, she made a call. The kind that didn't need many words, just names, dates, and a firm tone. The next day, two men in plain clothes visited the compound where the uncle lived. Neighbors gathered quickly. Nobody knew what was going on, until they saw the men being led away, barefoot, shouting, "She's lying. I raised that boy like my own." The neighbors watched. Some nodded quietly. But one old woman muttered, "Even Devil Day raise goats." It was the first time he entered a court. The walls felt tall. The chairs too hard. But his mother sat beside him, chin high, wrapper neat, nothing trembling. When the man was brought in, his eyes scanned the room quickly, then landed on the boy. He sneered. But the boy didn't flinch. The court heard everything. How the uncle took the boy in when his father died. How he kept the truth buried. How he turned the child into a servant. The boy never cried. He just sat there, quiet, like the truth was louder than any tear. When it was time for the judge to speak, there was silence. She looked at the man, then at the boy. This child was denied his identity, his peace, and his protection. That ends today. The sentence wasn't long. But it was enough. The uncle was led away, this time, without a single shout. Outside, cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. But the woman pulled her son close, shielding him with her arm. "No more noise. He needs peace, not pity." A few weeks later, he got a letter. It came from his father's old friend, someone who had once carried him on his back when he had baby cheeks and a soft giggle. The man wanted to sponsor his education. "He was your father's best friend," his mother said. "And he never forgot you." The boy opened the letter again. At the end, there was a line that made his heart slow. "Your father was proud of you. And he would be even prouder now." He smiled, folded the paper, and kept it under his pillow. One morning, he walked past his old school. A classmate saw him and called out, "Ifani." The same ones who used to mock him now greeted him with soft respect. He just smiled and kept walking. No anger. No pride. Just calm. He wasn't that boy anymore. Not just an orphan. Not just someone's burden. He was his father's son. And the whole world knew it now.